Hi guys, it's Thursday. Welcome to Untucked and Loaded. I've noticed that all the other girls this week so far have been doing it out of drag, so I figure, hell, why not? This way everyone gets to see what I look like as a boy and blah blah blah, and it's kind of like, the whole behind the scenes thing. Touch base really quick. I just want to comment on the girls last week. Gemini, how did I miss the let's get completely drunk memo? Because, well, then again, when I filmed my video, I had to drive back home, so I couldn't really drink. But, you hit the nail on the head when you were making sense, which wasn't all the time, but occasionally you had some good points. BB gun, you were pulling a real Kit Pistol. And for those of you who don't know who Kit Pistol is, one, you need to learn your history, your herstory, because those were some pretty blacked out times. Yeah, BB will go into it more. Peter. It was good that I could actually hear your video this time. Then again, you're the only queen that, well, one of the few queens, because we have another queen that pulled off the no sound thing before last week. Good to hear your voice. If I remember correctly, I was in that video, I think. I don't know. I remember being there when you shot it. Woohoo! Yay, go team. Lady Thursday, me, you're fabulous. Just saying. Yeah, you're epic. Cool, don't change a thing. Lady Friday, girl, I totally and completely agree with the whole people throwing shade and reading you because of your weight. I think that is what you do when you can't think of anything else to read on. BB and I joke about, her being fat and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, well, yeah, I invest, my whole Weight Watchers, I watch it go in. And I'm just like, girl, you got that. I think reading on anyone for their weight is just a cop-out. It's stupid. And if really the only thing you can point out in someone is their weight, then obviously, they're doing something right. And if, like, personally, I do struggle with weight issues. Like, even though I'm in a lot better shape than most people, I still do too. Like, once upon a time, I was, 5'10", still 5'10", weighing 170, I'm now 160. But when I was weighing that 170, I was solid muscle. I had about 7 or 8% body fat. I was perfectly sculpted. If I can figure out how to post up a picture, I will. I'm not very smart at this. And it was very much, in the past few months, like, I've really, like, lit a fire under my ass. And January I was 22% body fat. I'm now down to 12%. I was almost 180 in January, and I'm now 160. And then, other facts like visceral fat and butt, that stuff is another story. But, like, even though I am one of the skinnier people, especially, because I'm in better shape than most Americans, but because I was in even better shape, like, it's, like, I look at my body now, and I think of myself as out of shape and fat, even though I'm obviously not, but I totally get it. Lady Saturday and Sunday, I'm lumping you two together just because I haven't been able to watch your videos completely through. I've seen a bunch of bits and pieces, and I apologize. Just, this whole week has been super crazy for me, and ever since, like, working 3 jobs, dealing with the stress of an audition, and just, my brain is mush. Yeah. I've been constantly on the go. So I apologize to you two so much. I promise I will watch them tonight because I actually have time to sit down, even though I've been making Jell-O shots all day for a fundraising event that's on Saturday. at Patty's Ventura, it's raising money for AIDS Life Cycle. The show starts around 9:30. I don't know. I just show up and do some pretty things, and it might be a very, very, very important show for me. I will know more Friday morning, and I will elaborate more into this next week in my video. But yeah, so after 5.5 minutes of me rambling, we can get on to the topic. The topic this week was picked by me. It's, you know, how do we, like, what do we think of RuPaul's Drag Race? What has it done for the community? And how do we feel about them wanting vulnerability in their performers? Me personally, I think Drag Race is an amazingly hilarious and entertaining show. It's also very inspiring for people like me who just are constantly trying to learn and grow and do better and do more. I also feel that it has kind of made the whole drag scene kind of a joke. Like, yeah, it's opened up a lot of eyes and made people a lot more aware, and it's doing awesome in that regards. But now it's, like, you go to West Hollywood, and you see the bitchy little twinks who are wearing their mom's CoverGirl and some nasty ratted Party City wig, and because they're rolling with their clique of, little skinny cute twinks, they're fabulous. I've been in a number of amateur competitions in West Hollywood, like all over. And a few times I have lost to those girls who have 5 o'clock shadow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, who can't cover their eyebrows with all the Elmer's glue in the world because they're dumb, who thinks putting a garage door up is fabulous eye makeup. For those that don't know, a garage door is when you're the same color from here all the way up to your brow. But because they've got, their 100 best friends there to cheer for them, they're gonna win. And back in the day, it was like, because I started doing drag at the end of season 2. And I will fully admit, I was completely busted. Like, we all were. We all have been there. Everyone that ever does drag has their first few times of doing drag. Me, it was about 6 months, 6 or 7 months before I actually started to look somewhat good. I'm still growing. I will still continue to grow. But it's that I've now seen some of these people that I've lost to in these competitions that were super busted back then that are still super busted, and it's because all of their friends are voting for them and screaming for them, and, it's super easy to win when everyone there is going to be there only to cheer for you. I've also seen that it's kind of just become like, doing drag is... Like, I personally do it as a hobby, as, an art form and a means of getting up on stage and performing because I'm an attention whore. But a lot of people think of drag now like, oh my god, I want to do drag. It's so fun. I'm going to be fabulous. I'm going to go on RuPaul's Drag Race. And, there's people that have been doing drag for 6 months that are, posting up on Facebook. They're like, oh my god, everyone needs to vote for me because I want to be on season 6. And I'm the most fabulous, fierce drag queen in the world. No, you're not. You're really not. And I have a lot of respect, especially for my sister BB, because if any of the amateur drag queens that I know could do it, especially like from Ventura and a lot of the LA girls, if anyone could pull it off, I think she could. But she even said, I'm not auditioning because I need to learn more. And props to her. I honestly don't plan on ever auditioning. I do drag as a means to escape, and I'm afraid if I were to do Drag Race by some miracle like season 20, it would lose that fun because I would then be doing it as a career, you know, and thankfully, like, I'm gonna try that again. Like, the only thing that I've been able to do as a career that I loved doing as a hobby is circus. And I am pretty sure, you know, having to shave every single day, and having to get into makeup every single day, and having to do a different show every single night, and, you know, if I do the same number, you know, I repeat a number too soon, you know, people be like, oh my god, that bitch is just doing that same exact fucking song again over and over and over, like a few drag queens I've seen. I would go crazy. I would not enjoy it, and I happen to like doing drag, you know. It's something that I enjoy, and I don't want to lose that. Part 2. Yeah, 5 minutes each part. This is going to be a long video. Sorry. How do I feel about vulnerability in drag queens? I personally, I'm twofold on it. My whole thing is a drag queen should be confident. She should stand up in front of you, demand your attention, and get it. She shouldn't, you know, be sitting back like, oh my god, like, I'm so scared to do this, or this, blah, 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 blah. You know, she needs to step up, she needs to be loud, in control, and she needs to just captivate everyone. And I've got spaghetti sauce in my mouth. Lunch, sorry. Which, I'm going to go on a little tangent this season of RuPaul's Drag Race. It's now down to Roxy, Alaska, and Jinx. And everyone has to vote and blah, 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 blah. I personally love Jinx Monsoon. Like, she's hilarious. Her timing is perfect. I love Alaska. She is hilarious. Her timing is perfect. And she's a sweetheart. I don't think she's as funny as Jinx, but she's, you know, very entertaining. Roxy Andrews, out of the whole season, has the look. She's got, you know, the paint, the everything, like, she has the look. And she is a bigger girl that, instead of, you know, looking like she's got an entire, you know, lazy boy in her, just, like, rammed into her dress, and doesn't know how to work with those proportions like some of the other girls in the other seasons, minus Delta Work, because, you know, she actually knows she's a big girl and knows how to work with those proportions, but a lot of the other girls didn't. Where was I going with that? Oh, but, you know, she is a bigger girl, and she has figured out how to give body with her body like none other. Bitch is curvy, she's gorgeous and beautiful. Roxy will not win because she's a bitch. Jinx is probably going to win. I do not think Jinx should win. I think it should be Alaska, because this whole entire season, Jinx has been a victim. And, you know, one of the biggest things about drag history is, like, the Stonewall riots. The first person to rebel against it and throw that stone and stand up was a drag queen. We aren't victims. We are not weak people. We need to stand and be strong. That's what we do. I personally don't want to go and see a drag show and see, you know, someone up there being shy and coy and know their backstory. I don't, you know. If we become friends, then I can, you know, get to know your backstory and appreciate, you know, the emotional numbers that you do and things like that. That's different. If I'm going to a professional show with someone I've never seen before, I don't care if their mom left them in, you know, at a bus station when they were 3. You know, watching TV, that's different, you know, yeah, cool. Awesome. You know, okay, well, actually, that's not awesome. That's horrible, but you get what I'm saying. But you get, like, some of the queens that have been bashed the most, like Chanel and Detox at the start of the season, that didn't let down that wall. They just kept up that strength and that power. Always being ridiculed. There is nothing wrong with being strong, keeping up that wall, you know. When it comes down to it, you know, we're drag queens up on a stage, we have to connect with the audience, but we're not letting them into our boy life. You know, Annie Nhervoxa isn't a person. She can't be vulnerable. She can portray vulnerability and portray emotions, but she doesn't have any. Everything that she has, I give her. And the reason why she goes up on stage and not me is because she's the one that is, you know, the character. People don't come to a drag show to see Andy perform. You know, yeah, I do vulnerable numbers. I've done a few very heartfelt, emotional numbers that have moved people, but that's just because of the emotions that I had my character do. And you can be stimulating and refreshing without being vulnerable and exposing your boy side. And you can also express feelings that you have in yourself and, you know, just get them out and do the therapy without having to be vulnerable to everyone. You know, no one wants to see a bitch up on stage cry that her dog died. You go to a drag show to get away from everything and to have fun. You know, when you do see those heartfelt numbers, it makes you just feel like relate and be like, you know what, I've been there, but this person is up there and they're strong enough to do it, so I can be strong enough to do it. So my whole thing, it's vulnerability is relative. I don't think someone has to be vulnerable to be an amazing drag queen. I really don't. Just like I don't think a victim can be truly successful. As long as you're a victim, you're going to be a victim. You either stand up and, you know, fight back, or you get, you know, pushed under the curb. You know, shit or get off the pot. You see a car coming at you, you jump out of the way, or you shoot the driver. It's pretty simple. But that's my whole thoughts on it. Next week is going to be hilarious. Lady Friday has let us know, and I'm kind of scared shitless for it. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I will be a girl next week. And all these other bitches better too, because this is a drag queen collaboration, and like like Lady Friday says, you know, no one wants to see a bunch of little queers up here. They want to see fierce bitches. I'm a little queer today. Sorry about it. See y'all next week. Subscribe, comment, throw shit. I don't care. Meh. Hope to see y'all next week.